The sporting euphoria continues unabated as the much-awaited Tokyo Olympics 2020 kicks off today amid the scare of coronavirus, even as the organizers have claimed that there would be foolproof health security and that the mega games would be staged unhindered and successfully. Meanwhile, back home, the health ministry has urged the general public to exercise maximum health protocol, keeping in mind the surging COVID-19 cases in the country. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. The CP-UML seesaw continues. Chairman KP Sharma Oli tries to woo the dissident faction, saying they are welcome again. Senior leader Madhav Kumar Nepal says any disrespect intolerable. 24 COVID-related deaths and 1,855 positive cases recorded in the country yesterday. The health ministry urges people to take maximum precautions, citing persisting risks. The U.S. government imposes sanctions on Cuban officials, move taken amid pressure from Cuban Americans and politicians to respond to anti-regime protests. And Tokyo Olympics 2020 officially kicks off from today. Host Japan claim of foolproof safety while challenges galore amid the pandemic. The main opposition, CP-UML, has backed out of its earlier decision of taking action against the dissident group of lawmakers led by senior leader Madhav Kumar Nepal. Just a day after demanding clarifications from the floor-crossing group of lawmakers, the Central Committee of the main opposition, CP-UML, decided against initiating any action. The Central Committee of the party had earlier asked clarifications from 22 party lawmakers for crossing the floor to vote in favor of Prime Minister Sherbahadur Deuba in his vote of confidence on Sunday. Meanwhile, addressing the 43rd Memorial Service Day of the founding leader of the Nepal Communist Party, Pushpalal Shrestha, CP-UML Chairman KP Sharma Oli urged leaders of the disgruntled faction headed by senior leader Madhav Kumar Nepal to come back into the party. CP-UML chairman and the ousted Prime Minister Oli proclaimed that the floor-crossing leaders would be pardoned if they returned to the party. Chairman Oli also urged the leaders to forget the past weaknesses and strengthen the party unity once again. Chairman Oli, who spoke for just over an hour, adopted a soft stand against the dissident faction of the party, while he spent most of his time talking about the forthcoming party strategy. Meanwhile, senior leader of CP-UML, Madhav Kumar Nepal, has said that he would not remain in the party if he continues to remain what he said ignored. Senior leader Nepal said that Chairman Oli's behavior and decisions will determine the future of his faction in the party. Senior leader Nepal, during a program held at the capital's Champadevi on the occasion of Pushpalal Memorial Day, said that his faction was keenly observing how the party was now moving ahead in the changed context. According to senior leader Nepal, his faction wishes that the party would move forward in a revolutionary way. Nepal said that none of the members of his faction wants to leave the party, however, would not tolerate disrespect. The nation continues to reel under the second wave of coronavirus as 1,855 individuals tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday out of the 8,836 tests conducted through the PCR method, while 24 deaths were reported. Meanwhile, the health ministry, through a press release yesterday, informed that the infection rate since the past week is on the rise, while health protocols are being disregarded with the ease of prohibitions in the Kathmandu Valley. Morang, Sunsari, Jhapa, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, Lalitpur, Chitwan, Kaski, Rupandehi and Karnali reported of over 500 active cases, while around 26 other districts reported of over 200 active cases. According to the Health Ministry, there are 27,375 active cases, out of which 24,616 are in home isolation, while 635 are in intensive care units and 172 corona patients are being treated with ventilator support. The share market index NEPSE doubled within a year as the surge helped investors with hefty income, while the government's revenue jumped by 15 times. Investors have paid 26 billion rupees to the broker companies, monitoring bodies and the government in the name of commission and taxes. We have more in this report.
The Nikkei index was recorded at 1,362 points around this time last year. A year later, the index was recorded at 2,883 points as it made a dramatic surge of 111%. The investors bagged a hefty income when the index climbed by 1,461 points, while broker companies, monitoring bodies, as well as the government too earned a fortune. The investors' capital amplified by just over 200 billion rupees. The share market cap that was 172 billion rupees in 2020 mid-July climbed to 400 billion rupees in around 12 months. Meanwhile, the authorized number of shares in the market increased by 20%. The government's revenue too expanded with the increase in investors' income. The government in the previous fiscal earned 14.34 billion rupees from the share market through capital tax gains, while the amount was only 870 million rupees the year before that. The government last year earned 1.39 billion rupees as income tax from broker companies, while the amount was only 180 million rupees the year before that. Securities Board of Nepal had earned a commission worth 432 million rupees from the share market last fiscal. This amount is 9 times more than the earlier fiscal year. 50 broker companies conducting share transactions earned 9.31 billion rupees. Their earning was just 1.20 billion rupees in the previous fiscal year. Broker company, Nikkei, Securities Board of Nepal and the government have been benefited by the investors who paid 25.89 billion rupees in the just concluded fiscal year. However, the government, monitoring body and broker companies have failed to do anything for the betterment of investors. The demand of investors to slash down the commission hasn't been heard as of yet. There has been a significant rise of investors in share market. The number of investors in secondary market has reached 875,000 from 250,000. Out of those, almost 800,000 are involved in online transaction. This number was limited to 35,000 a year ago.
Development projects initiated by local levels are not completed on time, while the quality of work also remains a far cry in most cases. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the public representatives of the District Coordination Committee under Province 2 in Saptari's Rajviraj what is the reason behind a disappointing development index at the local level. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
दर्शिता कसरी गर्नुपर्ने हो र त्यसको प्रचार प्रसार कसरी गर्नुपर्ने हो र त्यसको स्वमूल्याङ्कन कसले र कसरी गर्ने भने त्यो बीचको पाटोको मलाई लाग्छ खाडल भएर त्यो समस्या हामीले जनतामा केही विकास स्थानीय तहले केही काम गर्न नसकेको भनेर प्रचार प्रसार भएको अवस्था हो।
जिल्ला समन्वय समितिलाई निरीह बनाएको रहेछ। जिल्ला समन्वय समिति नाम मात्रको लागि हो। चेन अफ कमान्ड नभएको हुँदा स्थानीय सरकारमा यति आलोचनाहरू खेप्नु परेको छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ।
दलित के बस्तीमा नै भवन छ, बजेट छैन।
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: how do you think agriculture grant can be made more effective? Your options are A, identify the genuine farmers, B, remove procedural hassles, and C, monitor officials. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.